Apparently muted.
Well, good evening, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen around the world. It is once again time for the WADcast, the Writers, Actors, Directors podcast. And I am one of your hosts, Josh, and joining me, as always, from the hippie room of the Playboy Mansion, Brandon.
What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
I'm still trying to figure out why the microphone levels keep going all the way up to 100, which makes me sound like garbage.
Yeah, well, I'm going to try to figure something out myself here. Oh, good. You can see me just fine without that big-ass light. Perfect. Awesome. Because that shit was giving me a migraine.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now that we're both, fixing our technical issues on the... Okay, mine's not fixed yet. There it goes, all the way back to 100. Okay, now that we are dealing with our tech, it wouldn't be a WADcast without us having to deal with something.
Oh, yeah, no, half our show is pretty much just like what's messed up right now and how can we fix this and...
On-air tech support for each other.
Yeah, pretty much. Did you smack it?
Have you tried turning it on and off again? It's funny because I just finished rewatching for like the 5th time, the IT Crowd.
I really have to watch that show.
It's not a long investment of time. So yeah, you can get in and pretty much get out the whole series in a day. Short seasons, half-hour episodes. It's groovy.
Yeah.
And while it doesn't go to the extreme of some of the, humor that you might be accustomed to in Always Sunny, it does have some kind of messed up moments where you're like, what?
Oh, yeah. I hear good things. I'll have to get around to it. I just have too many things going on right now for me to really even get into a new show. Indiana, come on. That's enough. What are you doing? Come on.
Like I said, you can get in and out in a day, the whole series.
Yeah. And if anyone watching this, if I get distracted, it's because I have my lap dog next to me. Something scared him outside, and he has not, given me any space for the last hour now. So, but anyway, so yeah. There's really, I usually have some way to segue into what we're talking about. And after that statement of me having my dog in my lap, there's really no way that I can really segue that.
There's no way to adapt it?
Huh?
There's no way to adapt it to the topic?
Well, I guess no. No? Well, I mean, I guess we can because his name's Indiana Jones. And Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was atrocious, and there's better ways that they could have done it, which is pretty much what our show was about. Properties that have either been done, but ways that we think it could have been better, and other properties that have not been done, I guess, that we would like to see, put into production. Right?
Yeah, it's pretty much the gist of it.
So, all right. Oh, and Ryan Campbell gave us a heart, a care. I'm sorry, not a heart, the care emoji. Thank you, Ryan.
Well, we're about to do the Lord's work.
We're about to do the Lord's work. Yeah. Talk about movies. It's very Christ-like of us.
Mm-hmm.
But there is actually one thing I will talk about, and it has not been done yet. It has not been made a movie, to my knowledge. It's not been made into a movie, a show, nothing. And I think it would work great as either a miniseries or a movie. It's a book that I read back in high school. It's, I don't know if it's standard reading for high school, but it's a fascinating story. It's a true story. It's called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. Have you ever heard of it? Ever read it?
It sounds familiar.
No. It's a book about a guy who was he committed himself into a mental asylum. He was having issues connecting to the world around him, and he was pretty much borderline suicidal. He had a child and a wife. And then when he's released from this asylum, due to shock therapy, his mind was just screwed up. He didn't remember his son, didn't remember his wife, nothing. Just vague memories, but nothing to really connect him to that life anymore. One thing that stuck with him was his passion for riding motorcycles. And so, as to connect to his son, he takes his son on a cross-country motorcycle ride. What do you? Sorry. Takes him for a cross-country motorcycle ride, and in this motorcycle ride, he compares the facets that he deals with in life that a lot of people deal with in life to the care that goes into maintaining a motorcycle. It sounds weird, it sounds boring, but it's actually a fascinating story about a guy that's just trying to connect to his past and, more importantly, like bridge his connection to his son. And it gets dark because at the end, like of the novel that we had, it was like an updated version, and you find out that his son, who took a lot of this advice to heart, tried to break up a fight, went out like on his 21st birthday or days before his 21st birthday, and he was ultimately killed. But it's just like it's a very, very morose ending, like a very, very sad ending to the book. But it is a fascinating story.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's like something that I think would actually be really awesome to see put into film or TV. It's something I would watch in a heartbeat. But this is a book I had to read back in like 9th grade, so it's not like exactly like advanced level reading. But it's actually a pretty good book.
Okay. Any ideas about, who might you have star in something like this?
No.
Okay.
I didn't know that's what we were going to be. I didn't know that we were like talking about like actors and actresses that would be taking place in these movies. How about Gerard Butler? Because Gerard Butler's in damn near. And you know what? We'll make it better. Pauly Shore. Because I could actually see Pauly Shore as being someone that would be committed.
Committed,
but no, we'd have to have some kind of talent. Huh. Dean Morgan. Yeah.
Okay. Amber in the comments says Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. He gets too much clout right now. We need to have Tom Hardy just take a break. I do like Tom Hardy though.
Everybody likes Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Would you like to hear my first?
Go for it.
All right. For years, for decades even, I've been saying this is something that needs to be adapted. And it was actually a previous guest on the show and your current significant guest in life, partner. I don't know.
My significant guest in life. Oh, Danielle?
Yes.
Hey, Sue. Okay.
Notified me that they actually did adapt this, which is why I made the little amended piece to the statement. Stupid microphone thing. That, maybe if it's already been done, we should also suggest they make a good version too, and for me, the first thing that immediately came to mind was a book by Jerry Spinelli, published in 1990, a book that I absolutely loved. Maniac McGee.
It was what?
Maniac McGee.
Never heard of it.
What? That's absolutely shocking to me, considering we're from the same, childhood, right? In fact, I'm going to choke my computer. It's irrelevant to the conversation, but I feel like choking it. Anyway, it's about a boy who becomes orphanized, like every good Batman, and he winds up being sent to his aunt and uncle's house to live. Unfortunately, his aunt and uncle are so toxic that he runs away pretty quickly. And then he winds up becoming, now that I put it, look at it, it's like this homeless kid in a different town. But the things that he does, he becomes an almost mythical character to the kids of this town. Whether he's standing up to bullies or, untying impossible knots or being allergic to pizza, which is something weird for a kid.
Yeah.
He starts befriending all sorts of people. By the way, the town is very segregated. You have your, based on what you look like, you knew what side of town you lived on, essentially. And Maniac shows up and he is freely crossing the tracks, the literal train tracks that separate the town. He's just going wherever he wants because, one, he's not from the town. He doesn't know about this divide, and quite frankly, he doesn't care because he doesn't have parents. So it's just kind of how this kid is making his way.
So he's some little homeless orphan kid that's doing good deeds in a town.
Kind of, yeah. And it's not like he's going out of his way to do it either. It's just like something happens and it's a lot like Forrest Gump, except without
all the running.
No, that's it. He's definitely known for running. That's one of his things.
So it's like Forrest Gump, just like a little bit more intelligent.
And that's where I stopped myself because I was like, what is Forrest Gump's intelligence as it relates to a 10-year-old?
It's just like it's a homeless 10-year-old.
Yeah.
That's doing good deeds. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. It was made a movie back in 2003 for Nickelodeon.
Okay. Yeah. Nickelodeon. It was definitely a made for TV deal. And I think someone needs to get, like a Spielberg on this and make it good.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry. Okay, there you go. Yeah, Michael Angarano, Brandon DePaul, Wyatt Knight, Mr. McGee. Okay, you need to make up your mind, buddy. Come on.
So I think it's about time we had a very good adaptation of this.
Yeah. So I'm getting shoved out of my seat by the dog. Yeah, see, I never heard of it. Amber never heard of it. This is a you thing, buddy. So yeah, some homeless little orphan goes running around doing good deeds. I could watch a movie about that.
Girlfriend's heard of it.
Yeah, so he follows 12-year-old Jeffrey Lionel Maniac McGee. He's got like a serial killer name, man.
So do you.
Brandon,
insert middle name here, diploma. I'm sorry, I don't know your last name.
Jeffrey Lionel McGee. That is such a serial killer name.
Well,
an orphan runaway with many extraordinary and athletic talents who arrives in a town divided with racial conflict. Let me just guess. I've never read this book. I've never seen this movie. Let me guess. He heals the racial divide in this town.
No.
Oh, wow.
but he kind of gets things rolling in the right direction.
Oh, okay.
With the idea that healing for the future is going to come from the kids.
Okay. Yeah, it's on. The whole movie's on YouTube. It's an hour and 7 minutes. Okay, I can watch this. It sounds like it's like not that much of a chore.
No, I wouldn't recommend watching what they made. I think there should be a good version. Why punish yourself?
Oh, there's a review, an audience review. I'm in a 5th grade class. We are about to read this book, then watch the movie. Let's see this review.
About to be put into a whole new world of, well, the book was better, wasn't it?
Well, this is 2 years old. He's in 7th grade now. Watch the movie. I have a cousin that
the follow-up is.
I have a cousin also watched the movie in 5th grade with his class. He told me a little about it and was interested. So when the teacher announced that we would be reading this book, I was excited. The movie is hilarious, historical, and educational. It teaches the racial conflict people had before the Civil War took place or after the Civil War. I don't know what's scarier, like the wording in this or the fact that 32 people found this helpful.
Read that again slower, please.
Okay. I'm going to read this with the, I'm not going to correct any of the spelling. I'm not picking on a 5th grader because, what this little kid's in 7th grade now, so he probably knows better now. But, I am in a 5th grade class. We are about to read this book, then watch the movie. I have a cousin that also watched the movie in 5th grade with his class. He told me a little about it and was interested. So when the teacher announced that we would be reading this book, I was excited because there's an exclamation point at the end of that. This movie is hilarious, historical, and educational. It teaches the racial conflict people had before the Civil War took place or after the Civil War.
Even the dog's like, what?
Well, my dog's sleeping now. I just knocked him out with this.
My neighbor's dog. Pre-Civil War.
And then right after this kid's review, wow, just read the book. This movie sucks. It literally doesn't even try to make it look like the book. You can't relate the characters, and they screw it up by smashing the whole story and plot in the first 15 minutes. They also ruin the ending by giving the parents the wrong death. Someone dies, I guess. Spoiler alert. Really a drunk driver? Then what is the point of him being afraid of the trolley and the ravine? If you want a free version of the book, there is a free PDF version of it online. And if you're a teacher, don't torture your kids with this movie. Laud. LAWD. 2 emojis of a black woman with her face palming her face.
So what you're saying is the kid did learn that, hey, books can be better than the movies.
Or worse.
I'm just going to throw this down there. Called it.
I'm the same. Oh, man.
All right. So, what is next on your IP that should be remade, or at least give us a good version of it? Or made, or should give us a good version of it?
Say it one more time. Sorry.
All right. What is next on your list of things that should get adapted, or at least give us a good version of?
Anything, right?
Yeah. Doesn't matter what the medium is.
He had asked me this 3 years ago. It would have been like a correct, follow up to Ghostbusters, but we got that awesomeness in November last year. Mortal Kombat.
We already have a good version of that.
No, we don't.
Well, we do. We do.
The '90s one was good. It was campy and it was like really really watered down quite a bit. It was good for what it was, but it was watered down a lot. And then we got Annihilation. That was a movie
where it got the intensity right, but not the story.
I don't think it got anything right. And then you have Mortal Kombat Legacy. I think that's what it was. Like not the YouTube series, but there was a movie, like a series rather, that came out back in like the late '90s, a TV series, based on before like the earliest versions of the tournament with the previous Kung Lao that apparently won but was also killed, but we never see his death. And then you had the YouTube series that came out through Machinima back in like the early 2010s. That was really good. But then we got the one that just came out this past year, which wasn't really necessary. It was cool, but you have you make a movie about a loved franchise that already has tons of characters. Yeah. And so there's already an established lore to the series. Mm-hmm. But you have to make it more convoluted somehow by creating a character for the sole purpose of having someone join everyone together.
We need somebody new to explain the exposition.
Here's what I don't understand. The whole thing with Mortal Kombat, like the one that just came out. Yeah, you know what? Scorpion's a badass. The whole fight scene with Scorpion and Sub-Zero, it was epic. It was really cool.
Yeah.
The whole scene, Sub-Zero slicing Scorpion across the back and grabbing his blood, turning into an ice dagger and stabbing him with that and everything. It was awesome. It really was.
Yeah. Like I said, they got the intensity.
Yes. But Cole was not needed.
No.
There's no point. The whole story of Sub-Zero is hunting Cole down because he's the last descendant of Scorpion. He's going to kill him. Like, okay, that battle with Scorpion took place hundreds of years ago. Are you telling me that the surviving child of Scorpion, over the course of hundreds of years, didn't have, like, there were no multiple births after that one baby? Like, I mean, you think maybe Cole's family would be a little bit bigger after 400 years? Like, maybe there'd be like some distant relatives somewhere that shared that bloodline. Something, mom, dad, brother, sister, cousin.
Your big issue is that
Gam might still be alive. You don't see Sub-Zero breaking into a nursing home.
The family didn't get it on enough.
And then he's only trying to kill Cole. Cole's got a daughter. That's,
unless there's something about that that breakup we didn't.
Yeah, Mama's got some secrets, huh? She playing her own round of Mortal Kombat with somebody else.
That'd be hilarious. It's like, you are the last in your line. He's like, no, I have a kid. Wait.
Yeah, besides.
What?
But it's just like, and then you have someone like Goro. That was such an opportunity that was thrown away.
Oh, yeah, that was.
Like the Goro from the 1995 film was so much more menacing.
He was treated like a boss.
And more terrifying. Like the whole scene where, like, Goro's fighting that. And I know that Mortal Kombat 95 did it too with Art Lee, I think his name was. The character that was friends with Johnny Cage, that Goro kills in front of Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade and all them. I know they created that character for that movie. Yeah. But he was not the main character. He was really very much just like a throwaway character. But Goro, just like the way they described the powers and everything else, they went into so much exposition that they didn't have to go into.
We're going to give you your special abilities.
Yeah, you have to be very, very stressed out. And Cole Young's special ability, let's make him Black Panther. He can take all these hits, and then he can blow the energy from the hits in all directions like a giant sonic boom and whatever. Like his armor absorbs kinetic energy. I'm like, oh well, that just happened in Black Panther like 2 years prior. It's there's so much wrong with it. But other places where it really hit the mark was like Kung Lao and Natara, like the whole fight with them where he throws his head in the ground and it does a spinny wheel of death thing, and he slices her in half from the head to sternum. Yeah. There's a lot of gore in it. Like I thought it hit the mark on that one. And I know why they did it. It's because the actor one has screen time with his face, very much like Sylvester Stallone and Judge Dredd back in the 90s. But the actor that played Scorpion, I was kind of getting frustrated that every time he would speak, he would take his mask off. Then put his mask back on. Then take his mask off again, talk some more. Put his mask back on. I'm like, dude, I get it. You want your face seen.
You know what? If you brought this up before COVID, I'd say you have a point. But we've been living in a world where it's like, no, what I need to son of a.
And then it's like Scorpion, like he speaks Japanese the entire time, which is fine. Except when he has to get his catchphrase of "Get over here." Like, you can just say it in Japanese, like it'd still be effective. Like it's cool. You're Japanese, man. Now I'm curious where you learned English. Do they teach that in hell?
Yes.
And then Japanglish, I guess, whatever it is. I mean, just like, it's come on. There's just so much wrong with that movie. It just sucked. It could have been so much better. Things like when they finally get sucked into the portal. And this would be nitpicking now. But after Kung Lao has, he gets, sucked by Shao Kahn. I'm sorry, Shang Tsung rather. He dies. Out of nowhere, while everyone's going into the portals, Kung Lao's hat flies in the portal with them. Who threw the hat? These are things that piss me off. We have Melina, but we don't have Katana. In the words of Forrest Gump, they're going to get like peas and carrots. You can't have one without the other. One's mounds, one's almond joys. One's got nuts, one don't. I mean, it's just like it's, you have to have them together.
So I see where you're coming from. That what you're looking for is a combination of the most recent version mixed with the 90s version, which would give us a movie that's about the tournament, but include the hyper stylized violence that the new one brought us.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. It's Mortal Kombat. Didn't even have the tournament. In fact, at the end of Mortal Kombat, Cole Young is now going to go recruit Johnny Cage.
Yeah.
And like the powers, they were stupid the way they got the powers. Like Jax, he's got the little T-Rex like twig arms and everything else. But it's not until Sonya Blade's in danger that all of a sudden his power is now giant, steely, mechanical robot arms.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's his power. Well, what if someone comes along and rips off those arms again? It's happened.
Yeah. That's a good one to add to the list.
All right. So, and Amber Flores, sequel to Chasing Amy. You know what? I'm kind of curious about that, but then they covered that topic a little bit in
Reboot.
in the reboot, right?
Mm-hmm. We check in with Holden and there we go. There we go.
Are you talking about Alyssa?
Yeah. I was messing with my microphone again.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Oh God, Joey Lauren Adams, back in the '90s.
Amber says that's not good enough. At least we know what they're up to and what kind of relationship they have, and the fact that they're, co-parenting.
Yeah. Oh God, she's 54 years old now. My Lord.
Well, Amber says just a mention is lame, but they were on screen together explaining, parenting to Jay.
Yep. I mean, I honestly, I don't even know how they would go back to do that. Because there's a whole thing about like, what was it? McNeil and what was it? Holden McNeil and what was it? Banky, right? Banky. Yeah. How they had like their little falling out and everything else, like stuff like that. I'd be interested in seeing something further with like them, but at the same time, like I don't say that. I'm more curious, and I've gotten my wish that's coming out this year in Clerks 3.
And didn't we find out that at the end of Strikes Back, Banky and Hooper got together?
Yeah. I don't know if they got together, but I know that Hooper was trying.
I want to say that was the case as they walked out of the theater.
Well, can we also touch on things that we don't need to see more of?
I do every day. I mean, what do you mean?
This is going to shock a lot of people. I've said this on the show before. This is going to shock a few people, though. It's time to just wrap up the whole Ghostbusters thing now. I think it's time for the Ghostbusters franchise to end gracefully. For the time being. Because it left on such a great note at the end of Ghostbusters Afterlife. It ended on such a great note. Time to stop. I've read about possible sequels and everything else. Oh, how can we like make more of these movies and really capture the same magic? You can't. It's time to stop the series now. So, what about the Lady Ghostbusters? No.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put a stop to all this now before we get part 75 of what is wrong with the 2016 Ghostbusters, which is a lot.
I will say this. I will never attack anyone for watching a movie. And I've said this before, Amber. I am thankful that the Ghostbusters movie in 2016 exists for multiple reasons, mainly because it was a colossal failure. And it went into creating the foundation that then became Ghostbusters Afterlife. Reboots don't work, especially with beloved franchises. Let's just, if you're going to make a sequel, make a sequel. Don't make a reboot of it. But yeah, there are so many reasons why we don't need another. We don't need a continuation of that movie. And if there is one, we don't need Paul Feige or Paul Feig, whatever his name is, helming the project. But I do agree with no more Batmans. There's too many damn Batman movies at this point. That is DC's like security blanket. Batman has always been the security blanket. It's like Fox when they were doing the X-Men movies. Wolverine was always in one of those X-Men movies.
Mm-hmm.
No ifs, ands, or buts. Every single damn one, I think, except for Dark Phoenix. I'm trying to think. Is there another? No, he was in Apocalypse. But he was not in Dark Phoenix. Yeah. And if you want to get technical, he wasn't in New Mutants either, but that's not really an X-Men film. But yeah, no. But Batman has always been the comfort blanket for the DC. I'm sorry, for the X-Men. No, Batman is. I'm sorry, Batman has always been the comfort blanket for DCEU and like just DC in general. But I would, you know what? Am I wrong to say this, Josh?
Yes.
I am so curious what we could have had if DC did not completely botch the Justice League movie. If they didn't rush production into a big team-up movie with the other characters. Because we still don't have a standalone Ben Affleck Batman film. We don't have that. We have Batman v Superman, which gave us, and I will say this to my dying breath, one of the most badass Batman fight scenes that has ever been in cinema, in that warehouse scene. But
Amber's correct.
No, I agree with her. I'm just saying, because now we have like the Matt Reeves film coming out this next month. It's
the idea is it's the biggest mistake Warner did was hiring Zack Snyder to helm their superheroes.
Oh, dude, everything Zack Snyder did is all slow motion. Everything's slow motion. It drives me crazy. I think I mentioned this to you, Josh. In the Justice League movie, in the Snyder cut, there is a slow motion scene of Lois Lane coming out of a coffee shop with a coffee.
And giving it to
we needed that in slow motion too.
It's like, what did they say? 15% of his cut was in slow motion?
I'm pretty sure of it. There's a reason why it's 4 hours long. God.
Ember says, boo, Twilight actor is not Batman. He sparkles. I think that's not really fair to Robert Pattinson because
I will say, like,
he was killed by Voldemort.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson is actually a very talented actor. I will give him that. I hate Twilight. But you know what? To his benefit, so does he. Like, he absolutely hates the Twilight series.
But
he hated it while he was doing it.
Man's gotta eat.
Yeah. But if you like me, like Robert Pattinson, in what was it? Oh God, what was the movie where like it turns out he's in the World Trade Center on 9/11? What was the movie?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I forget the name of it. It was a good movie. It was all right. The Lighthouse was amazing. I thought The Lighthouse was a very fascinating film. He's actually been in some damn good movies. He's like the kids from Harry Potter. You watch Emma Watson in these movies, you're always going to think of Hermione. You have Daniel Radcliffe in these movies. Yeah, he's about to play Weird Al Yankovic in a biopic. But you look at it, and even in Guns Akimo,
Loved it.
I did too. But you look at Guns Akimo, and people gave him so much shit because of Harry Potter. I mean, unfortunately, that's just like a stigma that he's got to get past. So.
And that's why he did horns so quickly after Harry Potter, right?
Yeah, and that was Angry Harry. That was an angry Harry Potter. And then what was the Swiss Army Man? That was a
Love
dead Harry
that
Potter.
movie. Love it.
Oh yeah, like the farting scenes. You drive right like a jet ski.
everything that I've seen from Daniel Radcliffe since I've liked. I can't really think of a movie that I've seen that he's done that I haven't liked.
Yeah. No, he's done a lot. Like he's done a lot of really really good films. But yeah, so I think that Robert Pattinson just kind of gets that same stigma that the kids from Harry Potter get. Huh?
Cedric Diggory.
Oh God, yeah. But like there are some people that break that mold. The guy that played Vigilante, he was in Harry Potter. The guy that played Vigilante in Peacemaker, he was one of the actors that was in Harry Potter.
I had no idea.
Yep. I thought it looked familiar. It's like, but then you watch him actually, like, the second he's unmasked and he's doing like the facial things and talking about like if he like makes all those weird faces and the facial recognition could not pick up on his face. Some of these actors go on from these weird movies or from like these like big like franchise films and just become like a totally different character. Like, I mean, him as Vigilante, he was hysterical. There was I don't think there's anyone else that could have played that character the way he did. So are you talking about the Suicide? Well, I kind of like the Suicide Squad. I didn't like the first one. But Peacemaker, I will say, Peacemaker, I thought was an absolutely amazing series. I was surprised, but you know what? You got to leave it to James Gunn. That's DC's MO right there. If they can't do it, they're going to hire someone that made Marvel happen and get them to do it.
So let's bring this back around to the topic of the evening.
Yeah, sorry.
Because I still have a whole list of things that I want to see made.
Okay.
And I'm going to piggyback off of your idea of a fighting video game that I want to see adapted.
Street Fighter.
I think if I brought that up, there would be some anime fan saying, we already have great Street Fighter. It's anime. And I haven't seen it. So I will say Eternal Champions.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you're going back with that one.
Yeah, it was such a fun game back in the day. Back when, OG Mortal Kombat 2 were making their rounds on consoles. Someone, who was it? Sega. It was Sega that made it. Someone at Sega said, we should have something that is exclusive for us. And it was Eternal Champions. If you're not familiar with Eternal Champions, it is much like Mortal Kombat in the way that it's God,
I forgot this game even existed.
Well, let me read the plot. An omniscient being known as the Eternal Champion predicts that mankind will soon fade from existence due to the untimely and unjust deaths of key individuals throughout history who were destined for greatness. Seeking to restore balance to the world, the Eternal Champion gathers these souls from time moments before their deaths. The Eternal Champion only has enough power to restore life to one of these individuals, so he organizes and holds a fighting tournament between them where the victor will be able to regain their life and change their fate while bringing balance to the universe, while the losers will be forced to die just as history recorded. So these champions are pulled from time, different eras. We got a caveman, we got a bounty hunter from the future, we have a 1920s noir style detective. All of these people were killed, and now they're being put into a fighting tournament to have a second chance at life. To me, that sounds like a pretty rad, say, limited series on Netflix or HBO or something.
Yep.
And
what I love about these games?
What's that?
most like there's nothing aside from like maybe like one or two people in this series. Nothing these people are wearing would be ideal to fight in. Like the women are practically wearing nothing because
90s.
Yep, it's the 90s. The noir detective, slacks, trench coat, everything else. Like I want at least like wingtip shoes. I want to take like the dress shoes off and everything. Yeah, it's just like probably not a good idea to fight in a pair of loafers.
Yeah, maybe not. But for the style. Points for the style.
Oh my god. Okay.
So that's another one that was on my list of things that I want to see done. Let's see. Moving right along, there was a book that was released 1990, same year as Maniac McKee. Hey, that was a good year for books, especially books for the youngsters. Maybe it's because that's where I'm from. I was a youngster back then in the previous century, previous millennium. And this book is by an author named Gordon Corman, who's had some, successes as far as writing goes. This one is like one of the titles that nobody's ever heard of except for me, apparently, and it's called Losing Joe's Place.
Never heard of it.
It's cheesy, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. It God, this get real irritated with my microphone, man, and it's not even the microphone that's the problem. Anyway, Losing Joe's Place is the story of Jason, who is allowed to stay at his brother's apartment with his two friends for the summer. Teenagers out living in the city for the first time by themselves because his brother's away. And the hijinks and shenanigans that occur, which ultimately lead to getting their brother evicted from his place. Hence the title, Losing Joe's Place. They have ups and they have downs. They make their way in the real world for the first time, having to get jobs, deal with terrible landlords, trying to get along with the brother's friend who winds up just crashing on the couch while he's there. Oh, Joe didn't tell you? Yeah. I'll be honest, it's not a story that has a genuine ton of appeal or following. This is more of a thing that I would like to see because I really enjoyed the book when I was a kid, and I just want to see some sort of adaptation of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Losing Joe's Place, that is up there. It's in my top 5 things of things that have never been adapted that I want to see adapted, or who knows? Maybe there is some sort of great TV movie version of it that I never heard of.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be the first time that's happened, except the great part. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and jump to my last, but probably the most important thing on this list that I want to see happen, because it is based on my favorite story by Stephen King. And in fact, let me grab something.
Pet Cemetery.
No.
Cujo.
I've already had 2 versions of that.
Yeah, another one of them really did any service like any justice to the book. And 3 if you count the sequel to the first one.
All right.
But go ahead.
This book is very difficult to find in its full version. Very difficult.
Okay.
The Bachman books. Because it's a combination of 4 novels by Stephen King, as under his pen name Richard Bachman, a pseudonym, if you will. And the reason it's difficult to find in its full version is because of the story Rage, which is about a high school kid that takes a gun to school and holds his class hostage while they have some sort of really weird group therapy session, because to society, he's the crazy one, which, to be fair, he is. But he wants people to know that their hands aren't clean either. Their pasts are just as bad as his, except he doesn't hide who he is. And he wants everyone to have their dirty laundry aired out. But that's not the story that I want to see adapted. No, I want to see The Long Walk turned into something. At this point, anything. I even watched this, really? It was bad. It was a bad fan-made trailer, but it was cool that someone had the idea to actually at least try to make a trailer. I don't know. I guess they were like, this is what I have available, which is nothing. So I love this story. Let me make a trailer for it. So kudos to them. And you know what? I hate myself for saying it's bad. I really do. For what it was, and I guess putting everything into context, fine. I'm not even going to give it. I'm not judging it. Not going to happen. I'm not going to do it again. I already judged it, but I'm taking away that judgment and saying I'm not going to judge it. But The Long Walk it's a story about a walk. I know, really enticing stuff, right? But no, the idea is there are the government puts together this walk. And if you win, you basically get whatever you want. The thing is, to win, you have to be the last man alive.
Okay.
Some of the rules are you have to keep your pace up above 4 miles per hour. There are no breaks. You do not stop. It's 24/7 until the last man is standing. If your pace drops below 4 miles per hour, you get a warning. And if I recall right, it's 3 warnings and you're out. But you don't get to quit. No. You're after you get your second strike, there is no warning. You will be shot on sight. Right there. Right in front of everybody. As you're walking down the road.
Okay.
But the most interesting part of the story is not necessarily the things that are happening. It's the conversations between the characters as they all have to, they're all like 18 to 20-year-olds. And when you're that age, you think you can win. But at some point, you have to come to the realization that, yeah, somebody's going to win, but chances are it's not going to be you. And you figure out what you got yourself into, and these guys are having these conversations. They're kind of making alliances, keep each other alive for, 10 more miles. Let's keep each other alive until the next state. Because they're not going to stop walking until there's one person left. And that means if you gotta take a dump, you have to time that. Because I don't remember exactly what the time frame is, but after a certain amount of time, you're allowed to remove a strike. Walk it off, so to speak. So you have to be calculating with, okay, I got to drop a deuce. How many strikes is that worth to me? And if you already have a couple, it can get messy. Because you can't drop that pace. Can't drop it, man. You're incredibly silent in all of this.
I honestly have nothing to add to that one. Like, are you not allowed to shit at all? Like, you can't stop the shit?
You can, but you get a strike.
Does it happen where someone just shits while they're walking?
Yeah.
Will that be in the movie?
I doubt it.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not interested.
Probably referenced, if anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, on that note, it sounds interesting. I'd have to read the book.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to have a problem finding it by itself. I wanted the complete works, even though it's not the complete works anymore. It's it has Rage, The Long Walk, Road Work, and one of these actually did become a movie, and that's The Running Man.
No, okay.
Which the movie does absolutely no justice to the actual story.
You want to know the most faithful adaptation of any Stephen King story so far?
I got nothing. What is it?
I'll give you a hint. It involves trucks that come to life.
Oh God! What
Maximum
is that movie
Overdrive.
called? That's it.
That is actually the most faithful Stephen King adaptation. And it's only because it was written and directed by Stephen King.
What is that from?
Huh?
What is it from?
It's from the 80s.
No, I mean the story.
Yeah, I remember that. I thought that was like the name of the book, but yeah, it's like yeah, Stephen King. He wrote the script, he directed the movie. So if you want to get technical, and it's the only movie he ever directed. So the most faithful Stephen King adaptation to date is Maximum Overdrive of all movies. Because who better to adapt their own stories than the person that wrote them?
Okay, loosely based on his short story Trucks, which was in the Night Shift.
But yeah. No, Christine was still. I love Christine too, but no, I'm just saying, like, for the sake of arguments, Maximum Overdrive, as bad as that movie was, that is the most faithful Stephen King adaptation of anything ever made so far. And it's only because of the fact that he wrote and directed it. Oh, man.
Well, I
I'm
won't
not
question you.
not saying it's good, because the movie's pretty bad. But, you know. Anyway, that's all I got for tonight, man.
Well, that's fine because we're up against the top of the hour.
Yeah. And tonight is my first night back. So I have to save the days I don't really feel like being there for when I really, really don't feel like being there.
I got to figure out what is up with these microphone levels. I understand there's a problem with my Windows 10. But it's really aggravating.
Boring. You know, Sue, I found the movie boring, but I love the fact that the soda machine was attacking those kids. All right, good night, Amber.
Well, I guess the only thing left to do is say, Brandon, where can find people some media, social?
You can find us on Instagram, instagram.com/the WADcast. Same with Facebook, facebook.com/the WADcast. You'll notice our page because we have like the black picture with white banner that says WADcast in it. You can also find us on the WADcast.com. Nothing has been updated because while Josh and I are not ready to announce what we've been working on, it is very, very, very. It takes a lot of our personal time, like a lot of it. So things have not been updated. I will say this: Danielle is working on some more reviews. She actually recruited another person to write reviews for the WADcast, so we have a second writer now. And his name is Peter Keyes. He lives in England, but he writes a lot of great reviews. He has really, really good insights on what makes movies great and not so much. He's very opinionated, but that's good. That's what we like. But yeah, so once we're ready to make an announcement, and I'm excited about the announcement, I just really have to. There are things I'm working on as well with trying to get it to really be something awesome to deliver to you guys. So once we're ready, I'm excited to share that with you, but not a whole lot of updating is going on between the website or the social media platforms, but it's only because of how much work Josh and I are putting into this other thing. So yeah, that's what I got. Josh, what about you?
Well, I will add on to what you're saying with, if you pay attention to, say, the WADcast Facebook page or the Wadco Media Facebook page and YouTube, you'll notice a couple of interesting little videos that have made their way onto the platforms. So that's about the most I'm willing to give up at this point in time. But in the meantime, you can always find the link hub at semicorestudios.com. That's right, I haven't changed it over yet, but I will soon. Promise. Just gotta, secure things and, learn how to do stuff. We have a lot of new tools in our utility belt that will allow us to kind of grow by leaps rather than baby steps. But like most tools, you got to learn how to use them first. So
yep.
I'm reading a lot of how-tos, and hopefully one day I'll know exactly what HTML is. No, I'm kidding. I grew up in MySpace times.
Okay, MySpace times. We were there before the magic was written.
Mm-hmm. It's true. We all neglected Tom, and now we regret it.
Oh, God.
But I will go ahead and do our final thoughts. If you have anything you want to add to close this out, Brandon, before I get into that?
No, I'm good.
All right.
I got nothing.
Then I will go ahead and do my thing. And let's do this one. God, that's terrible. There we go. Remember,
What are you doing?
I'm trying to do the final thoughts. Don't interrupt me,
It
sir.
is, you put on hold music to do the final thoughts.
It's the same thing I've been doing for the last month.
Oh, wow. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. I wasn't where he was doing that. Go ahead, Josh. You got it.
Anyway.
Let's go ahead and mute this real quick so I don't hear it. One second.
I'm going to go ahead and do... No, I'm not going to do it. Anyway, remember, ladies and gentlemen, the only thing standing between your dreams and you is you. Don't try to make a diagram of it. I tried earlier. It's weird. But you know what? I'm canceling the music because... And I'm going to diverge from the usual follow your dreams hype and get a little bit real. Get a little bit real with you for a second. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and there has been for the last couple of years. But it seems like every time you think something's gonna start calming down, something else kicks up. And right now, there are a lot of people being displaced, a lot of people being hurt. And this isn't a topical news show. You either know what it is or you don't. But how does that tie into our final thoughts? I'll tell you. You never know what's going to happen. The world is an ever-changing place. And much like the volume on my microphone, you have to seize it sometimes. Take control of your path, take control of your destiny, and don't put off tomorrow what you can be doing right now, because there is no certainty. Now is the time to do the thing that you've dreamed of doing. Now. Push forward. Get it done. Get it started. Forget get it done. Get it started. And then get it done. Because you can't finish something you don't start. You don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. You don't know what next week's going to bring. And I think most importantly, as we read these columns and quotes from established industry leaders, God, I hate this. When we read what the elders of cinema say about things that are coming out now, almost like some sort of mythical gatekeepers of taste, it's unimportant what anybody thinks about what you like. Make what you like what you like, and hopefully like what you make. But you have to start, and you have to do it now. So that's all I got to say about that. This has been the WADcast, and I hope you all had a very fun time listening to us ramble on and go on crazy tangential conversations, because that's what we do. That's what we love. And Brandon,
Yes.
tell the people good night.
Oh, good night.
See you next week.
All right. See ya.